Now we'll ask, let's say, fix the logos. I can't see the logos. So just like one single prompt which sort of generated an output which is already using an existing behavior. Working in terminal has sort of become a easier part for even most of the designers here. And for every designer, they have their own prototypes which are created, will come in like my prototypes.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Design with AI Future Frames, a series where we talk to designers, builders and creators in design industry who are not just talking about AI, but we are actually using it, rethinking the way we design in the industry today with such a fast-paced environment. Hi everyone, my name is Simran Pandit. I'm a product designer at Thoughtspot, and today's episode is really special one because we are keeping it in the family today. So today I'm joined by Faris, lead product designer at Thoughtspot, creator of Radiant Play and also the mind behind Bangalore Bloom, a project that has been getting a lot of eyes in the city. I mean, everyone would like to know about you better and how your design journey have been. Like, how did you get into the design industry?
Yep. So there is this post or tweet long back. I read it somewhere. It's not anything original. Like India is a place where first you take BTech and then you decide what you want to become. So I'm also part of that. So I was doing my bachelor's in computer science, and throughout the bachelor's time itself, I realized that I am better off in some other areas, and then I started to play around with back then it was like Illustrator, Photoshop, and then to create logos or images. I don't remember exact illustrations actually.
Yeah.
And then started from there creating posters for the college fest. And the first like sort of design exploration was like creating our website for our campus cultural fest.
Oh, wow.
So this is the same time I was also fiddling around to internet and then figuring out there is this program called interaction design or design, and which was like quite fascinating to me. And then around my third year or fourth year itself, I decided I wanted to do design because this is something very interesting, and this is also one way to basically run away from the engineering background which I have. So then I prepared for it and then went for my master's in design, and that's how it started originally. Yeah.
It's literally same for me, exactly same. That's how I started being a BTech student, and by third year and fourth year I decided I want to do like this as my career, and that's how I pivoted. And all my BTech went into COVID only, so it was even more easier, I would say, for me to explore the industry, and then went for masters, and here we are. Yay. Crazy. So how does your role at Thoughtspot look like today as a lead product designer?
So over the last few months, my role have like changed a lot. Even though we originally started, we will be covering that throughout the session.
Yeah.
I also had a like typical normal day-to-day work of a designer where like I will be working with my stakeholders to figure out what is the problem which we are solving, and then we'll come up with a design, then we'll discuss it and come back and forth. And generally there used to be a lot of time period with them when we originally started. To coming into specifics, a lot of my time recently has been going into how the entire design workflow process is to be modified and improved. Working with designers within my team, as not just designers, even the product and the people who are using the new workflows to improve the workflows, work along with them in order to improve the overall process which we have, and then sort of onboard the team also in order to that. This is part of one of my core responsibilities currently.
Great. I mean, in my 10 months of journey in Thoughtspot till now, it's even I have seen so much of incredible changes and learning that has been done within just 10 months. So I could imagine how much you would have grown like years in Thoughtspot. So as we talk about the workflow changes, right? I want to introduce Radiant Play that you made and like introduced to our company, to our team. And let's talk more about it. And for someone who's seeing it for the first time, what exactly is Radiant Play? So if you can explain it in more
Yeah.
detail.
It's a prototyping tool or prototyping system where anyone in the org can use in order to create any kind of an experience or their stories to be told in a more realistic way. So this is more of a super simplified version. We'll go into the specifics of that. So how to work with that, how it is working, what is the day-to-day work of how someone playing with it looks like, that we'll be covering. Yeah.
Definitely, because I know that in our team now, we have moved totally from Figma screens to Radiant Play. And not only us as designers, but PMs and everyone is actually referring to just Radiant Play today. And it has actually made our, whole workflow so much efficient, I would say, like saving up a lot of time, which used to take weeks. We are doing it like so rapidly, and even like pushing it, shipping it, everything is happening through this. So let's get more into detail of Radiant Play.
And also, I also want to reiterate, it is not just one person's or let's say my product. It is I'm just the facilitator. It contributed by the other designers and even with the mentorship of the entire team. And it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
So it's not one fine day we have sort of come up with this and then everyone started using it. It's not like that. So we have our fair share of learnings and then iterations
Yeah.
in order to evolve it, and it's still like in the very early stages. We'll see where basically Radiant Play sort of fits in. So someone who has been working with designs for years, we all know the frustrations and the limitations of current prototyping experience and how our handoffs are generally a lot of screens, and then we will have a lot of click-throughs in order to tell the interaction story,
Yeah.
which is fine in a lot of use cases, but there are a lot of limitations that like you are not working with the true interaction, you are not working with the true or more realistic data. All the time it is mock data which are limited within the Figma or let's say the prototyping tools which we previously used. So all of them were working in isolation in a good format. When we look at the tools which were coming out when the AI was slowly giving us the capability, first it started with let's say Lovable, and then we had Gemini, Canvas, then we had Bolt, and then some point in time Figma Make also came.
Yeah.
So all of them were like really good when it was originally starting as like a fun product in order to explore and then do things which were very difficult for us to do previously.
Yes.
And then it was very fun in the beginning because it made things were not possible now possible, right? And in the beginning it's sort of filled the first gaps which we had in our design process. But when we look at the overall design process in the long run, it was only starting to fill some part of it. And for example, collaboration or giving an update and talking back into the system, Figma had a lot of those advantages. Let's say you have a screen, you update your design system, it gets automatically updated.
Yeah.
But if you were working in Lovable or if you were working in Gemini, all of these tools, all of them were working great in isolation. And when you want to create a new project, you will have to recreate this again.
Yeah.
And this we are talking about 6 to 9 months back. Things had slowly started to change all these tools as then Figma Make came, we started to move into Figma Make, which was again baked into the Figma system, which was in the beginning, it was great.
Yeah.
But after a point, this also started to have a little bit more challenges because we were relying on Figma Make to come up with the features for the pace at which we wanted to move along with the industry. So this is when we originally started how to solve this problem as an experiment, and can we even solve that problem or is it worth looking? And then we started to experiment. What if we are able to play around with our own design system component? Because we have a limited design system, all we want is a predictable output for our designs to create when we work with any agent. When I say agent, I'm referring to Claude or Cursor or Codex or any of the tool which we want to use for vibe coding.
Yeah.
So Vivek was also working along with me in order to jam around and then test these ideas initially. And then First, we brought our few set of components, initially around probably 10, 15 components, just to see whether it can work in order to create a combined component.
Yeah.
And then we thought, okay, we found that, okay, this can work. And then we extended it to few more components, like 10, 15, 20. And right now we have around 100 components and a robust token system,
Yeah.
which sort of uses the exact same token system which is the Thoughtspot is also using.
Yep.
And the same sort of atomic components which we have in the icons, typography, buttons, and all the styles with the content guidelines. So right now it is at a shape that we have more or less around 70 percentage of 60, 70 percentage of Thoughtspot's common product lines to be easily recreatable with prototyping
Yeah.
as like the baseline. Again, the idea is here to get a very good baseline for designers as well as other stakeholders to starting point, and then they can bring in their creativity and
Yeah.
let's say Figma designs in order to recreate the designs within the system.
Yeah, that's really great to hear that whole journey, how it started, for what purpose it was, for whom it was built, and like it being evolved at such a scale that everyone in the company is now using and making prototypes of their own using our own systems. I remember me using Figma Make and struggling with the components because it wasn't exact replica of our own design system, but with the help of Radiant Play, we are updating our design system constantly every single day, and it actually using our own components, and the prototype looks exactly how it should be. So
I guess one thing that helps for people to is to visualize what exactly it outputs,
Yeah.
and then we can cover into the details of that. So
Yes.
maybe we'll just show how the tool look like and what is like the surface,
yes.
and then we'll go into the details of that.
Yeah, and how it works and everything.
Yeah. So this is how our Radiant Play will look like, and for every designer, they have their own prototypes which are created. Will come in like my prototypes, and then there are a lot of sample prototypes on which they can play around or let's say duplicate it very easily, and then start working on it. So this sort of act as templates, and then any new prototype any designer creates will come in their own prototypes area. So if you look at this is our spotter, which is a Thoughtspot product, which is let's say if I do sales by region, it will work and appear and experience exactly how a product will experience within the Thoughtspot, and will see all these details, and then I can have follow-up questions. And this is again currently in an isolated environment for specifically created for this prototype. The tokens, the buttons, and the whole overall style, everything is used from the Thoughtspot design system which we have.
Yeah, I really want to highlight over here that, guys, this is a prototype and not the product, but it actually looks like the product because it is using the exact components that we have in our design system.
Yes, yes. So this is another prototype which we have. So if we look at in this particular option, let's say if I go and edit this, we can like go for my demo purpose. If I wanted to change, let's say this into a specific chart, we have like integrated the real charts for the prototyping experience itself.
Wow.
So this is another product which we have where all of the capabilities more or less mimics what we have the entire product line itself.
Yeah, we have now seen what Radiant Play looks like, but now let's get into how it actually works behind this beautiful screen.
There is this entire Radiant design system which we have as part of the Radiant Play, and then the playground for each designer to we have a repo which is a GitHub code on which the designers will run their agent of choice. It can be Cursor, it can be Cloud, it can be Codex. Any of the agentic tool will work on the repo code. And then once I start on that project, it will be basically running on that code, which is the Radiant tool currently.
Yeah, so just one question over here, Faris. So we connect these agents, these AI tools, which is be it Cursor or Claude or Codex, to Radiant Play, right?
Yes.
We have conversations with the AI agent, and then it creates the repo in the GitHub, and that's how it reflects in the Radiant Play.
Yes, yes. So the whole thing is currently will be working individually on their own system, which will be connected to the GitHub. And anytime you want to save your project or let's say publish your project, you can publish it into any hosting site. Like we have a Figma site, we will have a internally deployed website for your prototypes, and the code also sits in the GitHub,
Okay.
where you will have a cloud saved version of that. Now, anytime when you send a message in the cloud chat, what it does is, let's say you are telling that I wanted to create a new prototype, and then it identifies what is the kind of message which you have sent, and if it's a minor tweak, it will try to only spend less time in the instruction and just make that changes. Where let's say when I am saying I wanted to create a full prototype, it identifies the designer want to, or let's say the user want to create a full prototype.
Yeah.
I goes into the full prototype instruction and then reads through the instruction what all file it needs to read. Let's say if I wanted to create a dashboard, the system knows that in order to create a dashboard, it needs to read through these 3-4 different files to identify what is a dashboard, what a dashboard consists of, and what is the design language for that particular dashboard, what is the behavior of that dashboard, whether the dashboard have a edit mode, view mode, all these functionalities, and then only it will create that prototype. So every time a user is telling I wanted to create a dashboard with these functionalities, what it does is it goes through this process, it reads through these instructions, what it needs to create, and then it reads through the sub instruction and then create a prototype, so that every single time, instead of it creates a new project from memory or randomly, it follows a set of instructions in order to create something new. Let's say you are given a Figma screen. Now, from the image or from the Figma screen, it identifies it have a button A and button B. Let's say button A is part of the design system. It will read from the component that button A, I can reuse the component from the existing component, wherein let's say button B is not part of the system. So what it will create is, it will create a new component and only create it for that specific prototype and then create it. So for the user, it will look and feel exactly like Thoughtspot, wherein probably 80% of the components are reused from the existing Radiant Play components and 20% of them are new.
Got it.
Now, the whole idea is every single time you are creating a prototype, it should be able to reuse whatever it can reuse from existing work. And then that work can be of the same designer, or it can be of from a global prototype,
Okay.
or it can be of from another designer who have given it to use for everyone else.
Understood.
Even in Simran's case, Simran was working on a prototype. Now we identified that particular prototypes, a lot of components can be reused for other folks.
Yeah.
Now we have brought that prototypes and cherry picked those items from that prototype and then made it available for everyone else to use. So they don't need to recreate that component again. So this largely covers the inner working of how a AI workflow is set up within the Radiant Play.
Great, great. So, Faris, like one technical question that is coming up to my mind. So here we see that there are three tiers, right? And which is
Yeah.
divided into minor tweaks or the full prototype build. Was this instruction or skill built to save up AI tokens, or like what was the reason behind it?
Yes, yes. Thanks for bringing this up. So when we originally created Radiant Play, while the output was great, a lot of the feedback which we originally received was it was taking a lot of time in order to come up with a solution, as well as it was taking too much token, which was costing us a lot of money. And then we realized, and then we looked at patterns of how people are using it, and as well as from design designers' chat histories, we identified that most of the time, what people are spending time is on tweaking or doing small enhancements, which was costing a lot for us because our system was not optimized for those.
Yeah, great. So Faris, like, can we have like a small sneak peek or a demo of how actually we as designers work on Radiant Play?
Let's take one example. So for the demo purpose, I'll take a small example. So let's take this admin groups project. We'll ask the model in order to the agent to create a new tab and then add specific details around it.
Yep.
And let's see how it is performing. So I'll take this prototype. I'll make this a slightly bigger. Yeah. And let me just clear up my conversation. Yeah. So right now I have pasted this and then tell Claude that hey, I want to create a new tab called, let's say, brands here, and let's populate the table here in a few brand logos. Take it from internet. That's here, and assume the design style from Radiant tables, and ask me questions. So right now we are just taking a very small use case to show you how it works. But in practicality, we will have a lot more context and information when we start a prototype. It's not like we will be starting immediately like this.
Yeah.
But it sort of shows the potential of how we can iterate upon an existing item as well.
True. And like one thing that I would really like to highlight over here is the last line that you have written, that ask me questions, which is so important for these AI agents to have like more context, which we are not able to define on the very first go. So it asking questions like this is like a big and a great help, I would say.
Yes. So now also, even though when we originally just said like brand logos, it gives a lot more intention when we explicitly mention that ask me questions. Now we are asking, we are giving a little bit more details. Okay, let's give this row count. For now, we can keep, let's say, 8 to 12.
Yeah.
Should the brand tags behave like a group table or let's say same as groups?
Yes.
Submit answers. So right now, if you look at, we have not given any screenshots or we have not given any other references right now. We are sort of brainstorming with the agent where we have already given a context. My prototype should look and feel similar to the other areas.
Yeah.
Cooked over here, and let's see what it sort of came up with. So if you look at, we have not given any instruction. Now the logos are not like populated. So, however, the table structure and the icons industries are sort of populated over here. Now we'll ask, let's say, fix the logos. I can't see the logos. So it probably some of the references it might not have happened.
Yeah.
Let's see how it performing. But like overall, you are getting the idea. Like even without explicitly pointing it to where exactly it needs to create the brands. It creates a new tab in the exact same design style. It follows the new search pattern and add a brand scenario. It created the new brand modal experience over here, which we have. And then let's say when I click in here, I can like click this experience and then what role it have. Let's say have this and next. And I created this group. So this is the experience which we talked about. Like this is just like one single prompt which sort of generated an output which is already using an existing behavior.
Yeah, and like the highlighting point over here is we did not give a single Figma screen over here, and it actually prepared a whole workflow, the whole prototype for us, which like within some seconds, right? Which could have taken some weeks, I would say.
Yeah. So if you look at like we just say like fix the icons and then it knew exactly where it need to go and fix the icons. Now we have the icons also sorted. So yeah, so this is like a brief of how we work with the Radiant Play, and when we work create a new prototype, we'll be giving a lot more context. A lot of time, the
Yeah.
design might not be there to begin with, but it sort of helps. The Radiant Play sort of helps in order to get a very good starting point, and then it becomes the designer's judge in order to build on top of that. Yeah.
Yeah, this is like really, really great. And I mean, what also I really like here is that it doesn't feel like AI is replacing designers or anything. It more feels like it's like another team member for us, which is making our workflows more efficient and faster.
Yes, absolutely. So it's a very good collaborator. Like what you want to basically work along is to figure out how to get best output, and then you will be able to get and work along with the AI in order to improve your workflow experience, and then give as a designer you are able to give lot more power to the stories of the product,
Yeah.
so that which was previously very difficult to do, and in a much interactive and much richer way. Yeah.
Totally, totally.
In reality, we would ideally will know exactly what we are going to do, so
Yeah.
we would be giving that details.
Yep.
Now we were just showing the capabilities, so we just let the AI decide. But
Yeah.
now is the place where like designer is coming and then telling that, hey, I wanted this to be like in a lot more specific way.
Yep.
So now like improving and collaborating with the AI in order to shape the narrative which we want to create, right? So it's not relying completely on the AI, but like you are still like the driver of how the final outcome is going to come in.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like before coming to Radiant Play, we actually go about the whole what the requirement, what we need as a organization based on the customer requirements and feedback and everything. And after deciding and making all the UX calls, then we come into UI part, which is where Radiant Play comes into the picture, and we define all the requirements and give it exactly the context and everything in prompt, and it creates the UI for us.
Yes. So as we speak, we have our new two tabs which has came in.
Yep.
So we did not explicitly mention it needs to come in here or anything. But since the system knows and then creating it, and a lot of this is the agent working along with the instruction.
Yeah.
So it have picked up a pill which you can see over here, which is from our design system. The buttons which we have is from our design system. So this is how we work with Radiant Play. So let's get into more details which we would want to cover. Yeah.
While building it, like, did you come across any technical challenges? Or
Yes, few of the challenges which we originally have, and we are still figuring this and improving upon it, is how we can improve our overall collaboration experience. And one fundamental difference, and this including me and everyone in the team also initially faced, was the mental model change of designers were or are a lot visual first persons to moving into something like this was a bit friction in the beginning, but and working through different branches, different work trees. This we all are learning this collectively as a team, and this is a technical challenge which we are overcoming as a team, and then now working in terminal has sort of become a easier part for even most of the designers here. So yeah, so we are crossing this barrier one at a time, and we'll see how this will progress overall. Yeah. So what it does is actually, as we covered, right? We build block by block, and then when a designer is working on a project, and from once they create a project, we sort of try to extract the details of that project into a different artifacts. So one of them is the template, which let's say a designer have worked on a live board. Live board is the name we have for a dashboard.
Yeah.
So you will see over here in this, if I go here, there is a live board template. So once a designer works on a project, we will see that live board template is there. And then live board IA is the information architecture, which is how the overall live board is created. So every time when a system know when the agent is working, it reads the instruction for these files in order to create a new live
Yeah.
from scratch. So it look and feels exactly like a Thoughtspot every single time. And then it reuses the components within that. Now we do this for all the project once it is done, and then we extract it and then make it available for everyone. So this is the part where when someone is creating a new live adjacent feature, they don't need to start from scratch.
Yeah.
What they do is they start from the baseline prototype, and then it have all the context of what a live is, and then they build the feature they want. We currently have released initially 17 components, and then we added more components, and right now we have a few custom skills and workflow commands in order to help the user to get a better prototypes. Now, one of the technical challenge I think Simran was also asking about was when a new update used to come, people were having their own prototypes, and it was clashing with an existing prototype. And then we realized we need a two different system for designers to work with.
Yeah.
So if we look at our system also, we have the whole sample prototypes which people can get a head start for their prototypes, but any new prototypes will sit in their own version of prototype. So if Simran is working on prototype, it will be Simran's prototype.
Yeah.
So when Simran is sharing it with the team and Simran is updating the Radiant Play, it will not conflict, and they can have their own version.
Right.
And when Simran decide that her prototype needs to go into globally for everyone, once it is ready, she can raise a PR and it will come into the main repo, and then we merge it and it becomes available for everyone else to use. Few things which the AI basically checks, whether the component exists or not, whether it is a hard-coded hex code, it should ideally use a token system which largely it complies into. But there are these few instances AI still will hallucinate and then does not follow the instruction. For that, we have a skill which sort of created and checks each component once the prototype is ready against a design system, which is called like Radiant Check, which we can identify whether it's a stray component or not.
Yeah.
Going into a little bit detail of how on a day-to-day basis the designer works and how the system improves, right?
Yeah.
We have a fork model, and we took that decision based on the current understanding of how we want to work, because this was an experiment to begin with. We have a primary project, and then everyone sort of duplicates that project and they work in their own version and their own prototypes. And once that is sort of ready, they cherry pick whatever needs to go into the main and then push it back. So this way, what helps us is each of the designer have their own version and their own playground to play around and then break the product, experiment it, and then it does not affect the main project.
Yeah.
And once something is ready for player to give anyone in the team, they share that only the specific part of their project in order to go back into the main project. And then this helps the main to be a lot more stable in nature and get the best of the designer's work. One drawback of that is currently we are not able to see everyone's prototype until unless the designer is sharing it across. This is one area which we are planning to improve in the coming updates or let's say releases.
Got it.
And have a even seamless way for us to host our prototypes internally. So these are the two areas which we are working on.
Thank you, Faris, for actually, taking us through the full Radiant Play journey. Such a great example, and I hope this would be helpful for others as well.
So one call out which I want to do is this is still super early in terms of workflow. Each of the teams have their own workflow. I'm incredibly grateful for the entire team to also go through this with the mess of it, because half the time things are breaking and conflicting. But without the team's day-to-day involvement in this, I think this would not have been made possible.
Yeah.
So huge thanks to the team also to work along with all of us in order to shape this what it is now and to the future as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
And thanks
crazy.
to Thoughtspot also to bear with us on all the credits which we are getting, like the amount
Yeah.
of billing which we have. Let's not cover that because yeah, so it's been like huge support from the company also
Yeah.
to work along with this. And one thing called design as itself is a very heavy token usage process, and it consumes a lot of tokens throughout the journey.
Yep.
And if we when we had a non-optimized system, we were racking up a lot of bills. Now
Yeah.
things have been streamlined a lot more better. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, really, even I feel like it wouldn't have been possible without the support of the team, the org, the leadership, and everyone
Yeah.
that we have got throughout this journey. So it was like super great, and then because of that only we were able to optimize and make things so efficient today. Yes, now I like we have talked enough about the org thing. Now let's switch some gear and like talk a little something more completely different, which is
Yeah.
Bangalore Blooms. Yay! Talk about it. Like, what exactly is Bangalore Bloom, and how did the idea actually started?
So it originally started as my panic to learn new things on Claude and Cursor, and I think it was around Feb time. And I also wanted to build something from end to end. Like
Yeah.
generally, what our workflow is, like we create something and then hand it off for someone else to build. And all these new AI tools sort of helps you, to create a full product, right?
Yeah.
So we see all of that, and then it would have been a good learning experience for me to try and build something from end to end and to see what it happens. And this is the same time where the Tabebuya season have started,
Yeah.
and I was hunting for a project idea from my side. And then I was traveling in cab in one day, and then saw this blooming tree around me, and I was like, "Hey, what if I could create a bloom tracker?"
Yeah.
So the reason I originally started was also something around like my interest to photography and the whole Tabebuya season and flowering trees.
Yeah.
This is the app where once you land into the map, based on your location, you can see what all like the blooming trees around here. You so like if you click, like you can see the images which are like picked from by the submitted by other people. Let's say if I can see like this is a yellow tree.
Oh.
There is this like yellow bloom here. Let's say if I go and click on here, I'll see a pink tree
Pink
which
one.
was originally spotted like 3 months around, and I can filter it with right now it's a Gulmohar season.
Yeah.
Like I can see what all Gulmohar trees are blooming and what people have submitted over here. And then I can go and see the overall gallery as well, like where all blooming trees are there. I can explore around here. So this is the overall app, and we have the top spots as well, and then you can see the whole live data of
wow.
how people trees and data over here. So this is the project. Yeah.
Crazy. First of all, congratulations, Faris, for this whole crazy project that you have done, which started as a passion project and turned out to be such a big thing for the whole Bangalore city. It's great. A follow-up question to that, because since I've been connecting with a lot of students these days who are trying to go up for masters in design, and with this changing industry which is of design industry which is happening right now, all of them are like very confused and asking like what sort of projects should they have in their portfolios to be like up to what is going on in the industry. So what would your suggestion would be for these students?
Yeah. So take something. One way to look at about that is find any problem which you find around you. It you can only even if you have a problem for yourself, try to solve for it and to see what the solution you can come up with. Think it from a designer point of view, what you will be solving it for. Even if you solve it for yourself, it may or may not be relevant for others, but we are at a time where we could solve for very small niche of people, And now with all the new tools, it has become more capable. And even if you solve it for you or your parents or your friends, it's still a great solution, and
Yeah.
it can still be a design solution. It may or may not to solve it for say 10,000 people, or let's
Yeah.
say 20,000 people, but start with you as a person. What is the problem you are facing, or what is the problem your immediate vicinity folks are facing, right? And that's a good way for you to learn the tool as well as learn a problem or solve a problem as well. So this is what generally I feel good representation of your skill set. You will also discover a lot of new learning opportunities,
Yep.
things which you think it would not have been possible before, now sort of become possible, right?
True. I mean, so basically, in a crux, students or like anyone who's trying to get into the design industry should, instead of just working on screens and designs for solving any problem, they should actually get into and learn these tools which can create actual working apps
Yeah.
or projects.
Yeah.
Or so it's just not limit yourself with Figma or prototyping tools, but rather go
Yes.
around, figure out how you can actually build the product and put
Yes.
up as your portfolio project or passion project.
Yeah. So once you build, you will also learn a lot of new skills, and also you will uncover a lot of insight which would
Yeah.
not have been possible if you were just living in Figma and creating those screens.
True,
Yeah.
totally. I mean, with that, I would like to share my experience while I was working on Exceed, because, of course, before that, all the knowledge that I had was till designing and the UX and the system building. But while I was actually building it, I understood what goes behind it, like the database, the authentication part of it, and so many other things. So, definitely, you get to learn a lot. And it won't be perfect on the very first shot, but it just gradually builds. And like, cool, great, Faris. I guess we have covered most of the things and like very useful stuff for the audience and everyone. And thank you so much for joining me and sharing your journey, your process, your story behind Radiant Play and Bangalore Bloom and everything. And
Yeah.
also, thank you everyone for watching Design with AI Future Frames. If you enjoyed this episode, please like or subscribe, and I'll definitely see you in the next episode. Or anything, Faris, that you would like to say before going.
No, it's been a super fun session, and thanks for having me. We all are in the collectively trying to figure this out as a team, as a industry, as a profession as well.
Yeah.
Like how design is shaping up. And one thing which I wanted to share, and this is also from my personal experience and the people I have seen around, is AI is a lot more as a collaborator, and you make use of the tools in order to upskill yourself.
Yeah.
And as well as if I just speak from a designer point of view, all these new enhancement have only made designers more powerful, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's the one thing which we need to take away as from the whole experience which we are having. Yes, it is uncertain, and it is a bit intimidating to begin with, but we all are in this collectively together, and take it to your advantage and then become a better designer or better person with the tools at your disposal.
Definitely, and that was the exact motive of me starting this series, so that because with this changing era, we should learn together, like learn from what others are doing, and we can grow, all of us can grow together, and everyone can learn from each other. And that was the exact motive of this whole series. And thank you so much for actually making this possible, because of you guys only who are like taking time out and like coming to my episodes. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah.
All right.